Life has a way of throwing chaos at us when we least expect it. The noise, the stress, the challenges, it can feel overwhelming. But what if you could navigate all of this with a sense of calm? What if, instead of getting swept away by the storm, you could find peace in the middle of it? In today's video, we're diving into 10 powerful lessons to stay calm in chaos, using timeless Stoic wisdom that has helped philosophers for centuries. From embracing what you can control to redefining adversity, these practices can help you build resilience and stay grounded no matter what life throws your way. So, if you're ready to take control of your peace and transform chaos into clarity, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's dive in. Lesson number 1. Embrace the dichotomy of control. Epictetus imparted the knowledge that some things are in our control and others are not. It appears to be quite straightforward, doesn't it? In spite of this, how frequently do we squander energy attempting to exert control over something that is beyond our ability to do so? Think about it. Worrying about the opinions of other people, trying to change the events that have already occurred, or being obsessed with the future. We are unable to access these things, and holding to them would only make the situation even more chaotic. But here's the thing that will change everything. Concentrate on the things that you have control over, such as your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions. Imagine that you are carrying 2 baskets in your hands. One is where you put things that you have the ability to control, such as your efforts, your words, and your choices. The other is where you put things that you have no control over, such as the weather, the traffic, or the actions of another person. When things grow hectic in your life, you should ask yourself, which basket does this belong to? If it is in the second basket, you should let it go. When you stop bearing burdens that were never meant to be yours to bear, you will be shocked at how much lighter life feels to you. Even in the most chaotic situations, you have the ability to select your perspective. Epictetus referred to this as freedom. Take advantage of that independence, make it your own, and concentrate on the things you are capable of doing. Please leave a comment below and let me know how you are embracing the duality of control in your own life if you find that this resonates with you. Lesson number 2. Practice negative visualization. Think about this. At this moment, you are perched on the precipice of a cliff, looking out over the horizon. What if I fall? Is a thought that comes to me all of a sudden. The majority of us are rendered helpless by that terror. However, Seneca, the renowned Roman Stoic, was of the opinion that one should confront those worries head-on. The technique of premeditatio malorum, sometimes known as the premeditation of evils, was something that he taught us. It is not the purpose of this practice to focus on negative thoughts. In order to avoid being caught off guard by the unpredictability of life, it is important to practice dealing with it. Let us take an example, shall we? Consider the possibility of being laid off from your job, going through a terrible breakup, or experiencing a significant setback. Create a mental image of it rather than a fear of it. You should ask yourself, what would I do? How would I adjust to this? Which resources and resiliency would I be able to take advantage of? The beneficial aspect of this exercise is that it causes a shift in your mentality. If you imagine the worst possible scenario, you will start to realize that you are more powerful than the chaos. You have come to the realization that you are capable of weathering the storm, even if it makes its way to you. According to a quote attributed to Seneca, "He who has anticipated the coming of troubles makes them less powerful when they arrive." When you engage in the practice of negative visualization, you are not bringing disorder into your life. Rather, you are preparing for it, And in that preparation, you discover peacefulness. Give it a shot tonight. Take a moment to yourself. Think about anything that you are afraid of or that you are facing, and visualize yourself overcoming it with courage. Even if the storm does arrive, you will be prepared for it. Lesson number 3. Find strength in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius, who could be considered one of the most powerful individuals in history, was also considered to be one of the wisest. He was subjected to persistent pressures, conflicts, and distractions, despite the fact that he held the position of emperor. The present moment, however, was the one simple reality that brought him comfort in the midst of everything that was going on. According to what he wrote, confine yourself to the present. What percentage of the time do we find ourselves unable to move forward, reliving previous errors or regrets, or becoming overwhelmed by anxiety about the prospects of the future? Marcus understood that these mental routines rob us of our ability to be at liberty. The only moment that can be considered genuine is the present moment. The past is no longer a part of our lives, and the future has not yet arrived. So, why do we waste so much time worrying about them? To bring oneself back to the present, try this easy but effective technique. It is grounding. Please take a look around you and identify 5 objects that you see. The rustling of the leaves or the mountains in the distance could be the cause. Then, name 4 items that you are able to touch, such as the feel of the grass beneath your feet or the sensation of the breeze on your skin. Proceed to the next 3 things that you can hear: the sound of birds chirping, the sound of the wind, or your own breath. There are 3 objects that can be smelled, and 1 of them can be tasted. With that, you have successfully re-established a connection with the present moment. This activity, despite its apparent simplicity, has the potential to be extremely grounding. It is like pressing the reset button on your mind. We liberate ourselves from the burden of the past and the anxiety that we feel about the future when we concentrate on the present. Marcus Aurelius made a profound observation when he observed, "You have power over your mind, not over an external event." When you come to terms with this, you will discover your strength. Lesson number 4. Journaling, a daily practice for reflection. Journaling is not only about writing down what happened during the day, rather, it is about obtaining clarity, perspective, and progress. Stoics were well aware of the power that reflection possessed. If we take Marcus Aurelius as an example, he wrote every day in his meditations, not to share his thoughts with the public, but rather to investigate his own thoughts. He was under the impression that he might better align himself with virtue and purpose by reflecting on his thoughts and deeds. Each day presents its own unique set of hardships. Not all of them are large, but all of them provide us with an opportunity to think about things. At the end of the day, you should ask yourself, what was the most difficult thing that happened today? Exactly how did I react? Has my response been one of patience, or have I been overcome by emotion? Learning is the focus of this activity. Judgment is not the point. Journaling gives you the ability to monitor your development over time. It's easy to forget how far you've come while you're in the midst of chaos. What you will see, however, is the progress that you have made when you look back through your entries. When you look back, you'll see that you've been through storms in the past, and each time you emerged stronger. Writing in a journal may bring brightness into even the darkest of days. To digest, comprehend, and incorporate the lessons that life has to teach is facilitated by this. You will also begin to recognize the power of self-examination, just like the Stoics did. Not only will you be able to triumph over disorder, but you will prosper inside it. Take a time to think over the events that transpired throughout the day. You are free to write. In the absence of any judgment or pressure, allow your thoughts to flow onto the page. You are not only documenting your day, but you are also honing your ability to bounce back from setbacks. Lesson number 5. Cultivate inner stillness. According to a quote attributed to Seneca, "We suffer more in imagination than to reality." Imagine that the mind is a large ocean and that the waves of thought are slamming against the ocean. In the midst of all of those waves, worry, anxiety, regret, and fear, it is simple to get disoriented and confused. However, the Stoics were aware of a secret. Calmness can be found within oneself. However, in any storm, that stillness will serve as your anchor. Although sitting in silence is a crucial component of inner stillness, it is not the only component. Rather than allowing your thoughts to control you, it is critical to have the ability to take control of your thoughts. Begin with a simple step. Try practicing deep breathing for 5 minutes every day. Pay attention to your breathing and the sensations that are occurring in your body, and see how your mind progressively becomes more calm. Seneca was aware of the fact that the majority of our concerns are merely concocted in our brains. We are able to see more clearly what is truly in front of us if we are able to calm those worries that we have imagined. Most of the time, life is not quite as overwhelming as we make it out to be. We can gain control of our reactions and bring our inner chaos under control by learning to breathe, by remaining present, and by focusing our attention. During those times of silence, you are able to re-establish a connection with the truth. The sounds of nature, the feeling of your body flowing through space, and the realization that you are more powerful than the turmoil that is occurring inside your own head are all things that might help you relax. It is similar to discovering your center in the midst of the storm. Lesson number 6. Accept impermanence. It is impossible to avoid change. Life is full of chaos, conflict, and pain. These things are all a natural part of the flow of life. Stoics had a profound ability to comprehend this reality. Everything we perceive is a viewpoint, not the truth, Marcus Aurelius stated in his book titled Meditations. To put it another way, nothing is permanent, not the difficulties you are currently experiencing, nor the restful times you have discovered. This impermanence is what makes life so beautiful. Just as the waves rise and fall, so too will your challenges rise and fall. Every storm that you confront is a moment in time. When you acknowledge that everything is ephemeral, you allow yourself to experience freedom. After some time, you come to the realization that even the most ominous clouds will eventually split and the sun will show through once more. Take into consideration all of the storms that you have endured. They may have appeared to be insurmountable at the time, as if they would never come to an end, but now they are little more than memories. It is inevitable that the confusion that appears to be so all-consuming at the present will also disappear. As long as we keep in mind that nothing is permanent, Marcus Aurelius felt that we are capable of enduring anything that comes our way. The happy times, the bad times, and everything in between are all temporary. There is no one thing that is permanent. Keep in mind that your current living situation does not define who you are. The manner in which you react to someone or anything defines you. You can unlock the door to genuine resilience by acknowledging that everything, including your suffering, your victories, and your challenges, will eventually change. Never forget that this too shall pass, even in the midst of a storm. Lesson number 7. Focus on small acts of virtue. In the midst of chaos, there is something wonderfully stabilizing about reminding yourself of your core beliefs and principles. The noise that we are surrounded by can seem to be deafening, and life can be stressful at times. The wise Marcus Aurelius, however, admonished us that we should not waste any more time fighting about what a good man ought to be. Rather, we should strive to be one. In times of stress, some of the most effective instruments we have at our disposal are acts of compassion, even if they are small. When everything else seems chaotic, these simple actions serve as a reminder of the good that you are capable of doing. Whether it's holding the door open for someone, delivering a kind word, or just assisting someone who is in need, these actions remind you of the good that you can do. You can re-establish a connection with the essence of who you are by engaging in a series of little acts of virtue. It is not necessary for them to be huge gestures. It is frequently the simplest moments that have the greatest force. In reality, this is often the case. Even when you are in the midst of a storm, you will feel anchored when you behave in accordance with your principles. You come to the realization that you have control over how you treat whoever you are and how you treat yourself, regardless of what is going on around you. Every time you make a decision to be kind, patient, or generous, you are reminded that you still have the ability to generate goodness, regardless of how chaotic your life may feel currently. It is through these seemingly insignificant acts of virtue that you are able to respond to the world in a manner that not only offers serenity to other people, but also to yourself individually. As a result, I would want to invite you to meditate on a modest act of virtue today. To be helpful to a stranger, to deliver a praise, or to listen without passing judgment are all examples of simple acts of kindness. Always keep in mind that you have the ability to make the world a better place, even if it's just 1 minute at a time. Lesson number 8. Redefine adversity. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who lived through a significant deal of adversity, had the belief that adversity is not something to be afraid of, but rather an opportunity to develop. He was quoted as saying, "Difficulties are things that show what men are." To put it another way, difficulties shed light on our true selves. Rather than viewing chaos as a potential danger, we have the option of viewing it as an opportunity to grow in strength, wisdom, and resilience. Life has a way of putting us through our paces. Each and every challenge, however, has the potential to be a lesson disguised as a test. Instead of asking, "Why me?" When disaster emerges on the horizon, you should ask, "What can I learn from this? What are the ways in which this can make me stronger?" Epictetus reminds us that the way in which we react to a problem is what forms our character, not the difficulty itself. Consider a period when you were confronted with a challenge. At that same moment, it might have appeared to be overpowering or even unfair. But when you think about it now, wasn't that difficulty what helped you develop? What would happen if we began to view adversity as the crucible in which we are able to form our resilience? It is only through confronting adversity head-on that we are able to learn the extent of our capabilities. Lean into the fire the next time life throws you into it. Rather than rejecting it, lean into it. Adversity can be used to hone your abilities, expand your knowledge, and give you the fortitude to deal with whatever comes your way. Keep in mind that the challenges we face are not what define us. Rather, it is how we rise to meet them that defines us. Lesson number 9. Limit your emotional reaction. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, was well aware of the terrible force that emotions that were not controlled could have. He made the following statement: "Anger, if it is not in control, is frequently more harmful than the injury that provokes it." When we are confronted with a chaotic situation, it is easy for our emotions to take control of us, and cause us to engage in a whirlwind of reaction. What if, however, we were able to take a little pause before we responded to the question? Anger, frustration, or tension can be triggered by life, and it is tempting to react impulsively when things happen. Seneca, on the other hand, reminds us that when emotional reactions are allowed to go uncontrolled, they can inflict more damage than the initial cause. Consequently, it is of the utmost importance to develop the skill of non-reaction. The most important thing is to refrain from acting on the initial wave of emotion and instead wait for it to pass before taking action. Picture it as a storm in your mind. It is possible that the storm will be intense at first, but if you maintain your composure and wait for it to pass, you will experience a sense of clarity. Without reacting rashly and adding gasoline to the fire, you will have the opportunity to reply carefully when you engage in this practice of pausing and reflecting on what you have just experienced. You should take a step back the next time you're confronted with a circumstance that causes you to feel intense emotions. Take a few deep breaths. Make sure you give yourself enough time to differentiate between your initial reaction and your response that is intelligent. In that area, you will discover control, and when you have control, you will experience calm. The words of Seneca serve to remind us that we do not have to let our emotions to control us. We have the ability to select how we will react, and by exercising self-control, we can forestall suffering that is not essential. We are able to reclaim our power when we are able to master our emotional responses. Lesson number 10. Stay connected to a larger purpose. Our connection to a larger whole was a topic that the Stoics frequently discussed. What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee, Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations. This profound statement captures the essence of the situation. To put it another way, we are a part of something that is far larger than ourselves, and the acts that we take are woven into the fabric of the world that surrounds this world. The feeling of being overpowered by chaos might occur when we lose sight of this. The chaos, on the other hand, becomes more tolerable as we begin to reconnect with a larger purpose. You are more likely to get self-absorbed and caught up in your own troubles when life seems to be in a state of chaos, but we are able to get perspective when we keep in mind that we are all a part of something that is far larger. It was the belief of the Stoics that connecting to a higher purpose, whether it be through service to others, a personal goal, or a shared cause, gives us the ability to see our own troubles as little aspects of a much larger picture. Give some thought to where you are in relation to the rest of the globe. Which part do you play in this? In what ways do you contribute to the success of the larger whole? These deeds serve as a reminder that your life has significance beyond the chaos that you are experiencing, whether you are helping other people, contributing to your community, or working toward a larger objective. In times of uncertainty, they might serve as a source of anchoring since they provide a sense of purpose. Marcus Aurelius was aware of the fact that when we act in a manner that is congruent with the greater good, our individual conflicts begin to diminish. With the knowledge that our lives are a part of a much larger and more interwoven story, we are able to find peace when we give ourselves over to something that is more significant than our personal anguish. We are not working in isolation. Rather, we are all cooperating in order to achieve something significant. In order to maintain a connection to a larger purpose, it doesn't matter if you're helping other people, making a contribution to a cause, or living in accordance with your principles. Doing that can help you feel more grounded and give you the ability to handle whatever chaos comes your way. Always keep in mind that your actions, just like the bees in the hive, have an impact on the larger total. It was the Stoics who taught us that chaos is an unavoidable reality, but that we have the potential to triumph over it. You'll discover that tranquility is not something you seek. Rather, it is something you create within yourself if you pay attention to these ancient principles and apply them. And hey, if you found that these lessons struck a chord with you, be sure to click that subscribe button. Continue to develop together, and we will go one step closer to finding inner serenity.